Okay. Next part of the question.
Yes.
Why did he come among the Muslims?
Yes.
Correct? Now this is a very interesting thing. Again, we must refer to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it is something which he told us, that he would come among Muslims. So there is no way out for a Muslim but to believe in that he would come among Muslims this time. Are awaiting Jesus Christ not as a human being, as a prophet of God. They are awaiting him to visit them as a son of God, which is a mythical thing which has no existence. So God in his wisdom has not raised them among a people who will fail to recognize him. If Jesus was born among the Christians who are awaiting him to revisit them in heavenly glory and descending like Son of God, because he was not that, because he could not come as Son of God, so his coming into a Christian world, into the Christian world, would be a complete fiasco and failure. Nobody would accept him. Many people try to become Jesus. Nobody believes in them. They say, no, you are not Son of God. We are waiting for a Son of God. So what will be the purpose of that stupid exercise where nobody is going to accept him? So where he belonged, God sent him there, the religion of unity. And he belonged there particularly for another reason, which I'll explain after this translation. Descending from heaven bodily, but as a God, with all the glory. This is their expectation. And because this is not right, this is not real. So if God sent him as an ordinary person, as a prophet, they'll reject him. No, you're not the man we are waiting for. Why among the Muslims? Why not among the Jews? That is the question. The answers are many. I'll particularly bring forth, present to you two important answers. Number one, after Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had come, the Jewish religion was finished as a valid currency. It had already been buried in the past. In fact, after they rejected Jesus Christ, it was no longer valid as a living religion in which God would ever raise a prophet. So you can see the history of Judaism. After Messiah, no prophet has ever come among them. While prior to Messiah, there were, the series, a procession of prophets, coming everywhere. You turn a corner and there is a Jewish prophet. Why sudden change? Why this total, absolute vanishing of prophets from among them, or absence of prophets? The obvious reason is, once they have rejected the most important prophet which was promised to them, this is Messiah, God wiped them off, rolled them back into the sheets of history. So what was the purpose of sending a Messiah to them? And again, the Messiah they are expecting, like Christians are expecting a Messiah of different form, they are also expecting a Messiah of different form. They say the Messiah would come to deliver them from the yoke of the Roman Empire. But history has changed. Where is that Roman Empire? Where is that yoke? So a Messiah who comes and says, all right, I have come to deliver you from the yoke of Roman, they would laugh at him, this is madman, leave him alone. There is no room whatsoever for Messiah to appear among the Jewish people anymore.
With permission of Hudur,
yes,
do they not ask themselves why before the Messiah there were hundreds of prophets, after the Messiah there is not even one prophet?
I'll come to that later on. So if somebody says, I have come to deliver you from the Romans, they will say, you madman, go to the what is madman's people, but
نعم.
The house of where they keep the madmen.
مارستان in Arabic.
Mental hospital, or where is another word? Nothing like
بالنسبة لهم الآن.
No, another reason why Islam. A prophet of God must come in a live religion. He's to perform something in future. So why should he attach himself, or God should relegate him to the past things when he is coming to perform a purpose for the future of mankind? So he must appear in a living religion. That's the only way where how the prophecy of Jesus could be fulfilled for his re-advent. The only open road was Islam. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. That's a declaration. So this is the only road available, only highway where a prophet could land if he was to come from anywhere, or where his prophet was to be born, as we believe. Another very important reason why he was sent in Islam was that not only Jesus Christ had promised his re-advent, but with reference to the present age, we call latter days, many other prophets of God had promised a revisitation to the earth. Like Krishna, like Buddha, many other prophets spoke of their coming again. So this is the important issue we are facing today. It's not just a question of Jesus. Why should he have come to Islam? It's a question also of Krishna. Will he not come? Or if he was also a true prophet of God, where would he come? Among Hinduism? Of course not. Because if Krishna comes among Hinduism, the Buddha comes among Buddhists, a fight will ensue among prophets of God calling to various paths and different opposing paths. It's unbelievable. The important thing is, whoever comes in whatever name, he comes from God. And whoever comes from God does not come to create greater rifts, but to bring back to the unity. So it has to be one single person under different titles. That is the reason why not only Messiah, but all other promised reformers must have been born in the Ummah of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu. Because if they were brought back from the past, they were not born in the Ummah under the title, then God would have to weld them together and put them into a melting pot and make a new man out of. Like the Kuffar Makkah, the Quraysh, they used to object against the concept of oneness of God. They say, it has Prophet Muhammad put them together and molded them together into one Allah. So that would happen to all the prophets who would come differently, from different backgrounds and different history, parts of history. This is not conceivable. This is all absurd. So he had to come, Jesus, not only Jesus, whoever was to come, he was to come bearing the title of Jesus, the title of Zoroaster, the title of Zoroaster as we call it, the title of Buddha, the title of Krishna, and the title of all other prophets who have promised to come. Under Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu. Because after him, no new law could be sent. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. No new law could be brought. So whoever was to come, number one, it was a must for him to be born in the Ummah of Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu, to be given the title of all those prophets which were promised to mankind variously. And number three, this is very important, to fulfill the prophecy of the Holy Quran, وَإِذَا الرُّسُلُ أُقِّتَتْ. A time would come when the prophets will be re-raised, not separately, under Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu. To prove what? To prove that when the Holy Quran claims that he is Khatamun Nabiyyin, he is the supreme among the prophets, a proof will appear in the world where the representation of every prophet would take pride in being his servant, not superior to him in the form of son of God. So this grand scheme of Allah does away with all the possible problems which confront us if we understand the prophecy literally as other people do. So the is a Rasul Uqatat, the prophecy has been fulfilled in one man who claims to be Krishna, who claims to be Messiah, who claims to be Zoroaster, and says, I am all that, but a humble servant of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the grand and everlasting master of religion. What a beautiful scheme, understandable. So Jesus had to be a part, particularly because in the latter days Jesus was told by the people, by a large number of people, to be superior to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallam, being the son of God. So if real Jesus comes in the form of somebody born in the Ummah and says, son of God, what do you mean? By God, I am a human being and a servant of Muhammad Rasulullah sallam. And then if the similarities between him and Jesus Christ prove the point that he is really the representation of Jesus Christ, then it's folded and finished. Right?
Yes.